Coming up on CTV News tonight, a fatal car collision takes 2 young lives. The former College Park mayor learns his fate, and we have team coverage for all you holiday travelers. That and more coming up next on CTV News.
Good evening, I'm Byron Scott with the CTV News Update. Well, tragedy near a local school this morning. 2 children were struck and killed while walking to school. It happened at around 8 o'clock at the intersection of Riverdale and Taylor Roads, not far from Riverdale Elementary School. Police say that the kids were crossing the street when they were hit. They were taken to a hospital where they died from the injuries. The striking vehicle did stay on the scene. County Executive Angela Alsobrooks released a statement saying today, in part, during the time of year when many of us come together with family, it is especially heartbreaking that we find ourselves confronting this sorrow. Our hearts ache for those families who are now facing a permanent void during what should be a time of togetherness and Thanksgiving. The cause of the crash, police say, is still under investigation. Well, an anti-gun violence organization hosted a discussion on youth violence. Hope in Action hosting the session at Benjamin Stoddard Middle School today. The program works to give students tools to escalate situations before violence occurs. Students voice their concerns and feelings about violence to teachers, community members, and county officials.
In Hope in Action, it's encouraging a lot of people, and I feel like it's a better way to say everything, how you're feeling. It's like, it's a lot.
I think that's very important that we speak to our school officials and also the students, so that way we work collectively to make this a viable program that will have the impact that's desired.
The group also brainstormed ideas on how to deal with their emotions, connecting with other cultures and making their voices heard within the school's administration. And there's a new Democratic state chair in Maryland. Ken Ullman, who won in a landslide, will take over from Yvette Lewis. Ullman is a former Howard County executive who ran with the support of Governor Wes Moore. He is facing criticism, though, from other members of the party over his views on criminal justice reform, the war in Gaza, and other issues. Former Prince George's County Community College President Dr. Charlene Dukes will become the first vice chair. Well, the nation is in mourning the death of the first former lady, Rosalind Carter, who died yesterday in Georgia at the age of 86. In a statement, former President Jimmy Carter called her an equal part in everything he ever accomplished. Rosalind Carter was seen as President Carter's closest advisor during his 1 term as president and their 4 decades thereafter as global humanitarians. The Carter Center said she died peacefully with her family at her side at the Carter home in Plains, Georgia. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. After the break, if you're flying the friendly skies, listen up.
Well, if you're planning to travel for Thanksgiving this year, pack your patience. TSA officials say airports across the country are expected to be busier than ever this year. I'm Katara Jones at BWI Airport. I'll have everything you need to know coming up on CTV News.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
Welcome back. Are you flying this year for Thanksgiving? If you are, wear some comfortable shoes because airports will be busy and packed. CTV's Katara Jones at BWI Marshall Airport with more.
That's right, Byron. Thanksgiving is just 3 days away, and if you are planning to fly, expect to see long lines at airports across the country. Now, I'm here at BWI Marshall Airport, and officials say that this year they are equipped to handle the large amount of travelers expected to go through security checkpoints.
We definitely have enough officers here. We are currently fully staffed here at BWI.
Taking the friendly skies to your Turkey Day destination Well, you are not alone. TSA anticipates screening 30 million passengers nationwide during the 12-day holiday period, which will run through November 28th.
One of the most important things you can do when traveling during these types of heavy travel periods is to come to the airport at least 2 hours prior to your flight if you're flying domestically. And if you're flying internationally, I would strongly encourage you to come at least 3 hours before your flight.
The busiest days to fly are expected to be tomorrow, November 21st, Wednesday, November 22nd, and next Sunday, November 26th. With more people flying this year, some travelers are worried about delayed flights, while others are not.
I haven't received any notice about my flight being delayed, so I think everything will be fine.
Seems like every time that I fly, flights are always delayed, so yeah, I mean, always you're worried about delayed flights.
Remember, if you are bringing food items for your Thanksgiving Day feast, keep in mind what can and cannot go in a carry-on or checked bag.
Solid food items such as cake, pie, stuffing, or other baked goods that can be carried through the checkpoint. If the food item is spreadable or pourable, such as wine, cranberry sauce, or gravy, put them in a well-sealed container and put those into your checked bags.
Officials recommend that if you have any TSA-related questions, to text Ask TSA for assistance. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And TSA officials also recommend that travelers make sure they bring their correct ID with them to the airport. Well, as we head into the holidays, AAA says many of us will be heading out of town. More than 1.3 million people in our region will be hitting the roads, skies, and rails. And with all the bulk of travelers expected to drive to the destination, AAA strongly urges you to get your vehicle checked out first by a mechanic. Have your tire pressure and treads checked out. Make sure your battery is in good condition, and make sure you top off the washer fluid.
We want to make sure that our cars are in tip-top operating conditions. There's going to be a lot of traffic. Road conditions, especially for the next 2 days, are going to be a little less than ideal, shall we say. So we want to make sure all the systems on our car are working perfectly so that we are as safe as we possibly can be. Our purpose has always been rescuing folks. We also want to make sure that if they have to use us, we're always going to be there. It's always best if you don't have to use us. So having your car in tip-top shape, it's the best way to make sure you get to your destination when you plan on it and without any unpleasant surprises.
And AAA says it expects to respond to 16,000 calls for service in the DMV over the holiday. Well, Governor Wes Moore says he's ramping up police presence around high work zones in Maryland. The announcement comes as the Maryland Work Zone Safety Group releasing more than a dozen recommendations, including increasing speeding fines in work zones and additional speed cameras. The new programs are aimed at increasing safety measures on Maryland's roads. The state is on a pace to reach a record of 600 highway deaths this year, which would be a 20-year high. Well, new report indicates that using a gas-powered lawnmower or leaf blower can produce as much air pollution as driving hundreds of miles in a car. The Maryland PIRG Foundation's report says the pollution created by gas-powered lawn equipment has been linked to health problems like asthma, cancer, and even death. The report recommends phasing out the gas-powered equipment and going to electric lawn tools instead. And now here's Simon Buggs with a preview of the Monday Sports page.
What's going on, sports fans? And coming up on your Monday sports page, a recap of the Wise High School football playoff game that was played versus Walter Johnson over the weekend. Stay tuned.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
Welcome back. The former mayor of College Park learned his fate today. Patricia Vallone was in the courtroom in up in Marlboro as the sentence was handed down.
Emotional day in room 3400 of the Upper Marlboro Courthouse. For more than 3 hours, prosecutors made their case against former College Park Mayor Patrick Woyan, and his attorney brought forth family and friends in his defense. Now, Woyan pleaded guilty to 140 counts of possession and distribution of child pornography.
People who are voiceless, people who don't show up in our courtrooms because they're afraid or scared. And in one case, at least one case, not here anymore because of the pain that they suffered as a result of being victims. When we get those cases, we believe it is our responsibility to try to get justice, knowing that ultimately what we can really get is accountability.
People often refer to this as a victimless crime, or they try to justify the actions of the defendant by saying he didn't touch anyone. So the purpose of introducing all of the statements by the victims today was to really convey behind every image he possessed is a story. And the reason why he pled to 140 counts was because our office is not going to take a position as to which child deserves to have their rape that was memorialized on video and forever lives on the internet pled to.
The friends and family spoke on Woyan's behalf, including his spouse, who has stuck by him through the entire ordeal. Woyan reportedly came out to his husband about his own abuse as a child, as he himself spoke to the court. Now, Woyan said to all children and victims of abuse and sex trafficking, "I am deeply, deeply sorry. I recognize the damage that I have caused. I don't know what led me to this dark, dangerous, and destructive path. I hope to get the help and resources that I need." Now, Woyan faces 150 years in prison with all but 30 suspended, which means that he will most likely be eligible for parole in about 7.5 years. Now, the judge also referred Woyan to the Patuxent Institute in Jessup for treatment. From Upper Marlboro, I'm Patricia Vallone, CTV News.
Hey there, sports fans. We begin your Monday sports page with some high school football news. The Wise High School football squad was in action this past weekend as they took the field versus Walter Johnson in a playoff game, and the Pumas' good play through the regular season carried over into this matchup. Beginning with this first play, the Pumas' defense made plays right off the bat as cornerback Rayvon Johnson got a pick six on the Wildcats' first offensive possession of the night. Eventually, the Pumas offense took the field for their first possession of the night and made plays as well as quarterback Eric Wedge III found a Pumas receiver wide open and he was able to give his team their second touchdown of the night. The Pumas did make some mistakes on the field though, such as this turnover that did lead to the Wildcats scoring their first touchdown. But fast forward to later in the game, the Pumas rushing attack made some nice plays as well, like this touchdown run by running back DeCarlos Young. Even the Pumas special teams had highlight-worthy plays like punt returner Cameron Parker evading multiple Wildcat defenders on his way to scoring his team's fourth touchdown of the night. In the end, the Pumas blew out Walter Johnson, winning 42-14. Their next game will be versus Eleanor Roosevelt on Friday. Moving on to more high school football news, Milford Mill Academy took down Potomac 42-10. And Suitland season came to a close as they were routed by Morgan-Thaler Vocational Technical High School 27-6. The Northwestern High School boys soccer team was also in action this weekend, going up against Leonardtown in the state championship game, but they lost 3-2. And the Washington Commanders suffered their 7th loss of the season, losing to the New York Giants 31-19. And that is your Monday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thank you, Simon. And that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Byron Scott. Join us tomorrow for more local news tonight.